So it's fantastic to be here among all these amazing patriots. I spoke today about Americanism. It's something that's central to the Legion. As a proud member of Post 4 in Wichita, Kansas, I wanted to come be with a group of people that I know care deeply about America and talk to them about how President Trump and this administration are working to deliver on that Americanism. How do we talk about the greatness and the exceptionalism of our great country? And that's what I spoke about this morning. I think it did set everything in motion. I had this incredible privilege. I got accepted into West Point and got a chance to go through these amazing 4 years where I was taught not only to be an engineer, but importantly about the value set and the history and what it means to serve. And then I got a chance to go be a soldier and be alongside some great young people delivering American lethality all across the planet. It was really special. It reminded me of how important America is to the world, and how ensuring that all the things that we do need to deliver security for the American people. Our task is to every day deliver outcomes on the American people in a way that doesn't require the use of force, right? If we get it right at the State Department, if we deliver a good diplomatic outcome, then we don't have to put young men and women, American young men and women's lives at risk. We need the military because that force, that power, that capacity enables me to have conversations that the other side knows that it's worth considering whether they ought not to act in a way that's consistent with America's trying to get. So they're symbiotic, they work together, but it places a great burden on the State Department to get it right, and an incredible privilege to be part of a team that so often does. So the President's been pretty clear that he thinks that the continued investment we're making is not commensurate with what we're doing, where we're at today after 18 years. At the same time, he understands that we were attacked from that place, that we have to preserve and protect our capacity to ensure that soil in Afghanistan is never again used to take down a tower or to kill Americans. And so with those twin goals, we've been directed by the President to work on creating the conditions for reduced violence, for peace, and for stability in Afghanistan. No small order, but to do so in a way that reduces the number of times that we have to call upon our young American men and women to travel to that faraway place. We accomplished a lot there. We crushed Al-Qaeda. It was the mission set we went there for. So many people here today at the American Legion Convention know that story well. We want to make sure that we get it right on both reducing the risk, but making sure we're on attack. I think we can do both. So I don't see it as inevitable. Our mission set, the President's mission set from the very beginning of the administration was to recognize that the previous administration had policy wrong on Iran, that the agreement, the nuke agreement, the JCPOA that was entered into created a pathway for a nuclear weapon in the hands of an Islamic revolutionary regime. This is not good for America. And so we set about a series of actions, the withdrawal from the agreement, the economic sanctions we put in place, getting our force posture right, all with the singular aim of convincing the Iranian people that they needed to change the direction of their leadership. The revolutionary regime needed to stop being the world's largest state sponsor of terror. They needed to stop their missile program, and they could never ever have the capacity to deliver nuclear weapons. With those three goals, we've set about a strategic vision, and we've enlisted partners, Gulf state partners, our Israeli partners, even partners in Europe who share our concern about Iran, and we believe we are on the right course to ultimately reduce risk to the American people that emanates from the Islamic Republic of Iran. So the more accurate way to describe this is that the risk of radical Islamic terrorism remains. And there's places we've had enormous success. We defeated the caliphate in Syria. We've taken down a lot of ISIS risk in other parts of the world. But it's not just ISIS. There's still Al-Qaeda pockets. There are other radical Islamist terrorist groups as well. President Trump's mission statement has said, we've got to go fight it. We've got to go take it on. But we need to do so in a way that reflects American risk, and we need to make sure our partners around the world, whether it's our partners in the Middle East, our European partners, or our partners in places that these terrorist groups exist in the Philippines or in Asia, we need to make sure our partners are doing alongside of us all that they can to take down the terror threat. And so you've seen big changes in how we've approached this. We think we've been incredibly effective. We know the threat remains, and we'll be dogged in protecting America from it. It wasn't when we first had our success. It was the case that Chairman Kim made a good and proper decision to do this. We hope we'll continue to be able to work on that. There are still far too many families who've not had the remains of their loved ones returned from Korea. We work on this just a little bit every day. I hope that we have good news in the not too distant future. It's the right thing for Korea, both South and North. It's the right thing for the United States, and indeed it's the right thing for the world. These are people who simply want what they believe the Chinese government promised them. A system which says this is different than mainland China. It's one country, two systems, where they had autonomy and freedom. That's what they're asking for. It's not much more than that. And I hope that this can be resolved in a way that doesn't end up in significant violence. I hope that the Chinese leadership will honor its commitment. We've seen that they often don't. They haven't honored their commitment on trade deals. They've stolen intellectual property. President Xi said he wouldn't militarize the South China Sea. He broke that promise. I hope that in Hong Kong they'll honor the commitment that they made to grant this special set of conditions for the people of Hong Kong. Yes. So I know the Austin Tice story well. I've had a chance to meet lots of family members of many of the Americans who are detained. We've had good success so far. We've had more hostages returned at this point in our administration than any previous administration. We've done so without paying ransom. We think that's important. Both when I was the CIA director and now as a Secretary of State, the guidance from the very top, from the President, is very clear. This is a priority and we will continue to work on it. We're working on it very directly with respect to the case of Austin. I pray and hope that we can get Austin safely returned to his family just as quickly as we can deliver that. American Legion does great work. I get notes from my friends back at Post 4 in Wichita, just little notes of encouragement, so I hope they'll keep that up. But more broadly, the Legion and its members have to keep telling our story. I spoke about this in my speech. It's incredibly important. There's so many families today that don't have a veteran in them and don't know the service that you described from your time as a Marine and my time as a soldier. They just don't know it. I'd urge them all to go out and talk about their story. Sometimes veterans are a little reticent to talk about their history. I want them to do that. I think it's important that people see not only the value of service to the individual, what it gives back to each of us having served, but what it does on behalf of America. I hope they'll tell that story. If they do that, and if the American Legion keeps up its amazing work all across this country, I know that the Americanism I spoke about this morning will thrive right here.